welcome to Style by C. Do subscribe and give us thumbs up. Today's tutorial will be on how to make this beautiful shirt. So I'll make use of this piece of fabric to make a shirt. Actually, I don't think it's even up to a yard. Let's just say a yard of fabric, alright? So I'll be working with it. These are the materials to make a shirt. Let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I had to do was to fold my fabric into two. Alright, so I'm using this side as the down or the base. So what do I do now? I'm going to mark the length of my shirt. So the length of the shirt I'm working with is 20 inches. I'll be adding extra 1 inch to it. Alright, you can decide to make it 22. Okay, let's make it 22 inches. Right, now I'm going to be removing 1 inch here because it's going to be having a band. So I'm removing my 1 inch at this point now. So this is my 1 inch. I've removed it. So from here I'm going to mark 8 inches. So this is my start point, which is where I'm going to insert my waist measurement. The 8 inches is my hip. Then 11 inches is my lap line. Alright, or my round time, my upper lap. Okay, so now what next do we do? I'm going to insert my hip measurement. My hip measurement is 36. The quarter of it is 9. I'll be adding 1 inch extra to it, making it 10. So I'm going to mark it on the lines I've made already. So this is what I have. Alright. So the next thing I'm going to do now is my lap measurement. My lap measurement is 22. When I divide it, I have 11 plus 1 inch, making it 12 inches, which is here. I'm going to mark it. Alright, so this is where my 12 inches is. Then coming to the waist measurements, my waist is 28, which is 7. Now, for my waist measurement, I'm going to start here, this line here. That's where I'm going to place my tape inward, which is 7. This is my 7 here. I'll be adding 1.5 inch to it. Alright, because it's going to have an elastic band. So from here now, I'm going to connect it to this point. Then from here, I'm going to drag it down. So I'm connecting it to my hip measurement. So this is my hip. So down to the lap, down to the base here. Then for this one, the same thing, I'm going to also do it here. I'm going to connect it here. Alright. Then at this lap point here now, this area that is here, I'm going to mark 1 inch in here. Then this way 1 inch up, forming a cube. Then I'm going to connect it. Alright, so this is what I'm connecting. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is to cut this out. So now I've also folded the material into two, just like how I did for the front piece, and I placed my front cutouts on top. What next do I do? I'm going to mark 2 inches. This is the center here. I'll be marking 2 inches. 2 inches. Alright, so I'll mark 2 inches. The same thing with this area. I also mark my 2 inches. I'm going to make a curve at this point, then I'll cut it out. To one side because I don't have enough fabric, so I'll be using this for my pockets. Then for the band, I'll be cutting out. It's going to be on a fold, 2 inches on a fold for my band. So this is my knicker. What I did here was to arrange it, the back and the front together. Alright, the right sides facing each other. So now I'm going to run a stitch on it. So the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to stitch here down to this end. And I'm also going to do the same thing for this center point. All right, I'm also going to do the same thing here. So remember, I said I'm putting pockets on only one side of the short. Okay, so let's assume I'm working on this area. This is where I'm putting my pockets. So I'm going to stitch half an inch, and I'm going to stop, give 7 inches allowance, then run a stitch down. Okay, so let's do. So after joining it, this is what it looks like. This is one leg. This is what it looks like. So this is the back of it. So next we're going to do is we're going to fold or hem the bottom, this edge. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to fold it. All right, so let's do that. So now I'm done folding or hemming the bottom, attaching my pockets to it. All right, then the next thing I'm going to do now, this is the front, this is the front. All right, so I'm going to run a stitch on it. I'm going to hold these two together, close it up. So let me hold it. This is the side, this is the front piece, the two side. All right, so I'm going to run a stitch on it, close it up, getting to this my back side of the short. Then I'm going to leave like 1 inch or half an inch because I'll be joining my bands to it. All right, so this is what the short looks like. Okay, after joining it, this is what we have. Now we're going to be attaching our band to the upper part of it. Alright, so I'm going to attach my band around. Remember I left half an inch here. I didn't close it up entirely. So I'll be attaching my band from here. After fixing the band, I'll then stitch it, close it up. The next thing is the length of our band. Alright, so now the next thing is the length of our band. How long is our band going to be? Since you're working with waist of 28 inches, you're going to be removing 5 inches from it. So our band is going to be 23 inches long. So this is my band and this is my short. So I'll be passing it through this opening that is here to the other part of it. Alright. So I've passed it through the casing or the band, inside the band. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch it to close it up. Then our short is ready.